皆さん、また来てくださってありがとうございます。ということでね、今日の動画はね、今週1週間はね、いろいろあったんですね。すっごいいろいろあったんですよ。元下院議長、共和党の下院議長のマッカーシーさんが辞めたりとか、ハンター・バイデンが起訴されたりとか、これに関してはね、ちょっといろいろあるんですけど、どうせこの今のね、民主党政権っていうのは本当に腐敗がもう司法にも進んじゃってるので、どうなるか、普通の常識通りの司法では裁けないと思うんですね。だからもうあとは本当に私はね、バイデンの腐敗ファミリーと、あと民主党のこのひどさ、これに関してはもうね、トランプさんが大統領になってくれれば、どんどん綺麗になっていくから、それだけを今思って生きています。ということで、これに関しては、深掘りはしないということでですね、事件としては、そのマッカーシーさんが辞めることで、共和党員の、下院の数がどんどん減ってっちゃうんですよね。だから、ちょっと大丈夫っていう感じでみんなが言ってた感じですね。共和党としてその差があんまりないから、共和党下院の数がもちろん共和党の方が多いんだけど、そんなに差がないから、こうやって辞めちゃったりとか、あと一人非的税金猶予でクビになっちゃった人がいるんですよ。だから2人辞めちゃったっていうことで、それがあるんですけど、それは置いといて、第4回共和党のディベートが水曜日にあって、これすっごく良かったんですね。すっごく良かったんで、どこを切り取ろうかなと思ってたんですけど、やっぱりね、全部これもって撮ってるとすごい長くなっちゃうから、短く何回かに分けてあげようと思います。なぜかっていうとね、これ日本で報道されてるアメリカの真実違うんですね。だからイスラエルとそのハマスのことも全然違うし、あと中国がどれくらい入り込んでるかっていうことも違うし、その共和党対民主党じゃないんですよね。今世界は常識ある自由民主主義を尊ぶものか、支配者層だけがいい思いをするこの共産主義とかファシズムかっていう、こういう構図なので、今回のディベートも2つに分かれたんですよ。やっぱり本当の、保守民主主義を守るっていう愛国の2人と、戦争やりたい金儲けしようぜっていう DS 側に分かれたんですね。同じ共和党の中でもそれが明らかになったディベートだったんですよ。だから本当は4人とも我々は共和党員で保守派でアメリカを守るって言ってるんだけど、明らかに分かる、こっち側が DS だっていうのがすごい分かるものだったので、ぜひ見ていただきたいなと思って全部乗っけようと思って、今日は第1弾を乗っけますということで、どうぞ。
I'm looking forward to Iowa and New Hampshire. The voters are going to be able to speak, and we're going to earn this nomination. And here's what we need. I am sick of Republicans who are not willing to stand up and fight back against what the left is doing to this country. You've got to be willing to stand strong, and you've got to be willing to beat these people. I'm the only one running for president that has beaten these people on issue after issue. We beat the teachers' unions when we did school choice. We beat Fauci on COVID. We beat George Soros when we removed 2 of his radical district attorneys. We beat the Democrats on election integrity. I have delivered results. That's what we need for this country. And you have other candidates up here like Nikki Haley. She caves anytime the left comes after her, anytime the media comes after her. I did a bill in Florida to stop the gender mutilation of minors. It's child abuse and it's wrong. She opposes that bill. She thinks it's fine and the law shouldn't get involved with it. If you're not willing to stand up for the kids, if you're not willing to stand up and say that it is wrong to mutilate these kids, then you're not going to fight for the people back home. I will fight for you and I will win for you.
Ambassador Haley, you left government service in 2018 with just $100,000 in the bank. 5 years later, you're reportedly worth $8 million, thanks to lucrative corporate speeches and board memberships like you had with Boeing. Weeks ago, you met with Wall Street heavyweights, including leaders from JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and BlackRock. Several other billionaire investors are reportedly ready to endorse you, or recently have, all of which comes with expectations. Aren't you too tight with the banks and the billionaires to win over the GOP's working class base, which mostly wants to break the system, not elect someone beholden to it?
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. You know, first I'll tell you, just to respond to Ron, he continues to lie about my record. I actually said his Don't Say Gay bill didn't go far enough because it only talked about gender until the 3rd grade. And I said it shouldn't be done at all, that's for parents to talk about. It shouldn't be talked about with schools. In reference to donors coming on board, look, we will take support from anybody we can take support from. But I have been a conservative fighter all my life. And so I've had a fight. And so as much as Ron says that, that's not true. But when it comes to these corporate people that want to suddenly support us, we'll take it. But I don't ask them what their policies are. They ask me what my policies are. And I tell them what it is. The most conservative grassroots group in the country, Americans for Prosperity, endorsed me last week.
Well, because he didn't respond to the criticism. It wasn't about the Parents' Rights and Education bill. It was about prohibiting sex change operations on minors. They do puberty blockers. These are irreversible. Talk to Chloe Cole. She went through this. Now she's an adult. She's warning against it. She may never be able to have kids again. That is what Nikki Haley opposed. She said the law shouldn't get involved in that. And I just ask you, if you're somebody that's going to be the president of the United States and you can't stand up against child abuse, how are you going to be able to stand up for anything? That is the truth. We have it on video.
I said that if you have to be 18 to get a tattoo, you should have to be 18 to have anything done to change your gender.
You said the law should stay out of it.
Here she is saying it.
Madam Ambassador, another question is what care should be on the table when a 12-year-old child in this country, assigned female at birth, says, actually, I feel more comfortable living as a boy? What should the law allow the response to be?
Well, I think the law should stay out of it, and I think parents should handle it.
Yikes. I mean, so she said it, right? Yeah. Like, you don't get to unsay that. Like, you said it, and you got to own it.
I wish they would play that stuff at debates.
Mr. Ramaswamy, for months you campaigned as a unifier. Then you stood up at the first debate and attacked all of your competitors as bought and paid for. By debate number 3, you called Nikki Haley corrupt, accused Ron DeSantis of wearing high heels, and told Ambassador Haley she should keep a closer eye on her daughter. Can you see how this has led some to conclude you are not, in fact, a unifier, and to question your authenticity?
Megyn, I think there's a time and place for everything. We need somebody in the White House who absolutely is going to be a fighter when it counts. And I did say that there were some good people on that stage in that third debate. Ron DeSantis is a good person, too. I want to go back, though, to Nikki Haley's comment from earlier that she is somehow not responding to the will of these donors. Nikki, you were bankrupt when you left the UN. After you left the UN, you became a military contractor. You actually started joining service on the board of Boeing, whose back you scratched for a very long time, and then gave foreign multinational speeches like Hillary Clinton is, and now you're a multimillionaire. That math does not add up. It adds up to the fact that you are corrupt. And when I said they were bought and paid for, I meant the Republican establishment, not the Democratic establishment. Now you have Reid Hoffman, the person who's effectively George Soros Jr., funding lawsuits across this country against Donald Trump to keep him off the ballot, funding left-wing causes. We discovered this week that he is one of Nikki Haley's largest supporters. Larry Fink, the king of the woke industrial complex, the ESG movement, the CEO of BlackRock, the most powerful company in the world, now supporting Nikki Haley. And to say that doesn't affect her is false, because it's after that meeting later that day that she says that every American needs to be doxxed by having their ID, their government-issued ID, tied to what they say on the internet. So I think that this is far more corrupt than I even imagined when I entered politics. But I will say this. It is going to take a leader from the outside, with fresh legs, from the next generation to unite this country. Not the broken politicians who are puppets of the puppet masters, but the actual people in this country. And I think I can reach that next generation better than anybody else in this race.
Thank you. Response.
Megyn. First of all, we weren't bankrupt when I left the UN. We're people of service. My husband is in the military, and I served our country as UN ambassador and governor. It may be bankrupt to him, but it certainly wasn't bankrupt to us. Secondly, I did serve on the board of Boeing. I did a lot of work with Boeing when I was governor. They were a great partner to me. I love Boeing. They build good commercial airplanes. They build airplanes for our Air Force. I am proud of them. They employ a lot of people in South Carolina. But that's why I left the Boeing board. There's nothing to what he's saying. And in terms of these donors that are supporting me, they're just jealous. They wish that they were supporting them. But I'm not going to sit there and
Let me get the governor in and I'll go to the governor's
and
hands.
Vivek,
Are you
he
jealous?
wrote a book talking about ESG and these woke corporations and BlackRock. The idea that I want to do that in Florida, they were managing our part of our pension, and then when they did the ESG, I took $2 billion away from BlackRock. We took action. This ESG, they call it environment, social governance, and again, Nikki is meeting with all these people. They want to use economic power to impose a left-wing agenda on this country. They want basically to change society without having to go through the constitutional process. We've kneecapped it in the state of Florida. The next president of the United States needs to be able to go to that office on day one and end ESG. And the fact of the matter is, we know from her history, Nikki will cave to those big donors when it counts. And that is not acceptable.
I did write that book, Ron, and the irony is Nikki Haley was heaping praise on me when I wrote that book, but now I worry I was warning about the woke industrial complex in this country as a warning. Apparently, she read it as a how-to manual, just like she reads George Orwell's books as well. And so I think that that's actually far more dangerous than, this is really important for people to understand. We're marching towards fascism under Biden. Jack Smith has subpoenaed every last retweet that someone has issued from Donald Trump in the year 2020. The only person more fascist than the Biden regime now is Nikki Haley, who thinks the government should identify every one of those individuals with an ID. That is not freedom, that is fascism, and she should come nowhere near the levers of power, let alone the White House.
I've got to get to Governor Christie. I haven't forgotten about you, sir.
No, but can I just say,
but can you speak?
I really appreciate
how
that.
How you doing,
Hey,
sir?
good to see you.
Can you please speak to the requirement that you said that every anonymous internet user needs to out themselves? They're both hitting you on it.
I would be happy to, and I love all the attention, fellas. Thank you for that. I'll say this. What I said was that social media companies need to show us their algorithm. I never said government should go and require anyone's
That's
name.
false.
She said, I want your name.
She
As President of the
absolutely said
United
it.
States, her first day in office, she said, one of the first things I'm going to do,
I said we
all
were gonna
social
get
media
the
is,
millions
I want
of
your
bots
name.
She wants
That's what she
government
said.
ID to dox
Finish
every
what you're
American.
saying.
That's
Hold
what
on.
she said. You can roll the tape. She said,
ということで、ディサントさんのリクエストにお答えしてファクトチェックをします。どうぞ。
What they're pushing. The second thing is every person on social media should be verified by their name. When you do that, all of a sudden people have to stand by what they say.
それでは続きどうぞ。
serious blowback, and understandably so, because it'd be a massive expansion of government.
Actually,
we have anonymous speech. The Federalist Papers were written with anonymous writers. Jay, Madison, and Hamilton, they went under Publius. It's something that's important, and especially given how conservatives have been attacked and they've lost jobs and they've been canceled. You know the regime would use that to weaponize that against our own people.
Okay,
It was a
so
bad
I
idea.
have to say,
and she should own up to it.
Come on. I'm going to give you 15 seconds, and then there is the governor, former governor of New
This
Jersey,
cracks
who
me up
deserves some
because
time.
Ron is...
On your constitutional
You can come back to it
rights.
later.
This is
No.
more dangerous than the
You're
Democrats.
This section's over. Okay.
ということでいかがだったでしょうか。今回第1弾は ESGについて話しています。で、右側の方々はみんな愛国で子どもたちを守るっていう人たちなので、この何とかして ESG を配信に持っていかないといけないっていうものなんですね。で、日本の方も聞いたことあると思うんですよ。この環境社会性ガバナンスっていうことで。で、これプロパガンダなんですね。グローバリストの。だからそのグローバリストのプロパガンダに騙されてる方はおそらくこの ESG を念頭に置けない会社って一流じゃないのよとか言って無理やりやってると思うんですけど、実際中の人たちはこれに意味がない、これが非常識な政策であることを知っていながらやっているのは、こういう世界中に投資をしているブラックロック、JP モルガン、ゴールドマンサックス、こういう世界中のディープステートの投資家から投資をしてもらえないからなんですね。だから一刻も早くこういう いう実際にどの国の政治家にもご利用しをして世界をまとめていこうって思っている人たちをなんとか今トランプさんはじめこちらの、保守的な人たちが倒そうとしているわけなんですよ。ということで日本も気をつけてください。もう日本に LGBTQ 法案ができてしまったと聞いたので、私は本当に心配してたんですね。こっちではもういろんなレイプの問題や学校でのレイプの問題やこの性転換をして子供が産めない体になってしまった少女たちが悲鳴を上げているので、ぜひ日本もいち早く阻止してくださいということで、また見てください。それでは良い1週間をお迎えください。